everybody, it's Schoeb with Busciglio Sheridan, and today we're going to talk about what you can expect in jury duty after you get that jury summons in the mail. Every county is different, and if you find yourself in a situation where you absolutely have to reschedule, refer to your summons paperwork to see who you need to contact to get that approved. If you do not get a rescheduling approved, you must appear at the location in the summons. The first thing that you should expect when you arrive for your jury duty is to be placed into a waiting room with other prospective jurors. Then you'll be escorted by number to your respective courtroom. In the courtroom, you'll be seated and there will be attorneys on both sides and a judge up at the bench. The judge is going to ask you questions about your general experience with the judicial system. So perhaps whether or not you've ever been a juror before, your stance on certain topics that the jury might be presented with throughout the trial. The purpose of any of the questions that are asked to the prospective jury that day are all geared towards the same thing. The goal is to have a fair and impartial jury at the end of jury selection. So because of your prior life experiences, you may favor one side or another. So if you have that view towards law enforcement, that you would favor their testimony over others, one of the attorneys might ask you, despite your experiences or your opinion towards law enforcement, are you able to set that aside and try this case and hear the facts of this case fairly? Could you give both sides a shot, or would you tend to give that officer more credibility simply because of the fact that they are an officer? Some questions that you might be asked might hit a little closer to home, and they might be a little more personal. Too personal to share with 35 of your new best friends on your fellow jury panel. So you may want to ask the attorneys, which they will gladly do, to approach the bench so that you can answer the question in a more private setting. The worst thing that you can do is to not answer a question for fear of embarrassing yourself or others and be selected for the jury and not be able to sit fairly and impartially because of that prior experience that you had. Both sides have a right to know that information and need to know that information. So for you to be as honest and forthcoming is the best thing that you can possibly do in jury selection. Please keep in mind that the attorneys nor the judge can give you the details of the case during the jury selection process. They can only give you hypotheticals or examples, but no specific case facts related to the parties involved in that case. Only the jury that's selected will be able to hear the specific details of the case that you're there on. You might have the question, how long is this going to take? During the judge's preliminary questions and introductory statements, the judge will usually explain to you how long the trial is anticipated to take, whether it's 1 day or 5 weeks. That will be explained to you so that you can explain any hardship that this might cause you that would cause you to be distracted from the facts of the case if you're selected to be a juror. So some important takeaways from this video would be, number one, show up. If you don't show up, penalties can be imposed, including a fine of up to $1,000, and the judge can impose up to 6 months in jail if you don't show up. There's no need for that. Try to make the best of it and do your best to show up to jury duty. The second most important takeaway is to be as honest and forthcoming as you possibly can. Even if you're not asked the question specifically, if there's something weighing on your mind that you feel like both sides and the judge should know, at least ask to approach so that you can let them know in case that's something that they want to consider when they're selecting the jury. The final thing I'll leave you with is, I know jury duty can be quite the inconvenience, but try to make the best of it. Both parties are relying on you, and it's a very important day for them. And who knows, you might actually enjoy it. Thanks again for tuning in, and be sure to like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram.